Hi, I'm Dr. Lonna, Bulletproof Babes, self-defense based on behavioral sciences. I just saw something really ugly the other day, and I never want this thing to happen to you. Now, if you've seen most of my videos, they're all about some external threat. This one actually has an internal threat component. And I'm going to show you how to overcome it. So this is how it played out. I'm stuck in traffic, bumper-to-bumper traffic on a street that has a lot of restaurants and bars, and I hear this really loud guttural yelling. And I look up like half a block away. I see this guy with his hair sticking out all up crazy, and he's not wearing a shirt, even though it was a cold day. It was like 55 degrees out. And then he just had on sweatpants, and his body was streaked in filth. You know, the type, like they've been doing meth for 3 days and haven't slept. And he's obviously having some sort of psychiatric emergency. Okay. And at the same time, I see a guy come out from a restaurant, and he's got like the typical kind of dad bod, and he's got this huge bag of takeout food with him in one hand. And as Mr. Dad is walking down the sidewalk, Mr. Crazy fixates on him and starts coming up behind him. And he's screaming loudly. I mean, just gibberish, not anything in particular. And Mr. Dad bod, he's not acknowledging that this guy is coming up behind him. And he didn't have earbuds in. It's like he's like la la la, and I'm telling my friend like, oh my god, this guy's got to put down the food and deal with this guy. This guy's got to put down the food. And no, he just keeps walking, and what do you think happens? Mr. Crazy comes up behind him and pushes him. So Mr. Dad, stumbles, and then he runs out between two parked cars, and then plants himself against the driver's side of a parked car and takes his phone out. So now he's got one hand taken up with the takeout food and a phone in the other hand. So no hands to defend himself against Mr. Crazy. And what do you think? Mr. Crazy comes up and does this. This big, nasty swipe, knocks his glasses off, knocks his phone down, and then somebody starts honking behind me like, I've gotta keep moving. I can't pull over here. There was literally no place for me to pull over and try to help this guy in any way. So what was happening there is that he froze. He was in complete denial of that he was under threat at that point in time. And let me tell you, there's a psychological component to this, and his sympathetic nervous system really just hijacked his brain process. So the sympathetic nervous system is a very ancient part of our nervous system that when we're under extreme threat, like you think you're going to get hit or somebody's pulled a gun on you, or you hear some noise at 3 o'clock in the morning from somewhere else in your house and your heart's going like this, there's a cascade of neurotransmitters and hormones that really completely hijack your thought process. And humans respond in one of four ways: fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. That's cross-cultural. He did the freeze. That whole like, oh my God, this is not happening. La 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 la, this is not happening. That is a freeze. And when you do that, you put yourself in danger, because it almost always escalates from there. The bad guy's not going to walk away because you're not acknowledging something bad is going to happen. So let me teach you how to get in control of that so you can really think about what your next logical step is. First of all, the Navy SEALs have a protocol called box breathing because, as you can imagine, they deal with this situation quite a bit. They cannot afford to have the sympathetic nervous system hijack their thought process. And they do something called box breathing. And what that is inhaling on a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale and hold it for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You exhale for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you hold that for a count of 4. And you go around and round with that process. And that literally has a physiological component to slow down the heart and get in control of that sympathetic nervous system so you can think about your next step. As for this particular Mr. Dad on the street, what he should have done, he could have done a million different things better than what happened. He could have run into one of those restaurants or bars. Maybe somebody would have helped him, or at least the employee could have called 911 and he could have dealt with Mr. Crazy. By the way, this is the one time one of the very few times that men are at a disadvantage because I believe that people are less inclined to get involved if it's two guys in battle on the street versus a woman and a guy. They're going to see it a little bit more evenly matched. But always, the protocol when you're in danger and a stranger is approaching you is to put your hands up like this, foot back, so you're not pushed over, and you say, I don't know you. Get back. I don't know you. Stay away from me. That it does a couple different things. The hands are up, so you have more blocking surface. And also, if you have to punch, your hands are already right there. And also, it broadcasts to everybody that, I am not with this person. This is not a domestic dispute. Nobody would have mistaken these two guys for being together that way anyway. Gay men just dress better than that. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you soon.